How to manage chess pawn structures with pawn breaks. Imagine your pawn structure as the foundation of a building. If it's solid, your position is stable. If it's weak, your entire game can crumble. Managing pawn structures is all about knowing when and how to make pawn breaks to shape the game in your favor. First, you need to understand what your pawn formation looks like. Are you controlling the center? Do you have pawn chains or isolated pawns? Are there weaknesses like backward pawns or doubled pawns? Recognizing these details helps you plan your next move. Next, identify your targets. Are you trying to break apart your opponent's pawn chain? Opening lines for your rooks and bishops? Or maybe you want to create space or pass pawns on the flank? Knowing your goal guides your pawn break choices. Timing is everything. You don't want to push a pawn too early and weaken your position. Wait until your pieces are developed and ready to exploit the open lines. Look for moments when your opponent's pieces are poorly placed or unable to respond effectively. If you have a pawn majority on one side, that's often the best place to consider a pawn break. There are different types of pawn breaks. A minority attack involves using fewer pawns on one flank to challenge a larger pawn group of your opponent. For example, pushing a pawn like b4 to b5 on the queen side can force exchanges that leave your opponent with weak or isolated pawns. Central breaks, such as pushing d4 to d5 or e4 to e5, can open the middle of the board, but they need support from your pieces. Flank breaks, like pushing or h pawns, aim to open lines on the sides for your rooks or to weaken your opponent's king shelter. After executing a pawn break, coordinate your pieces to take advantage of the new weaknesses. Open files are perfect for rooks, diagonals benefit bishops and queens, and knights can hop onto outposts created by pawn exchanges. But be careful, don't push pawns just to create weaknesses in your own camp. Each pawn move should be part of a clear plan, not a random decision. Remember, pawn breaks change the nature of the position. They can turn a closed position into an open one or vice versa. Be flexible and ready to switch strategies from maneuvering to attacking based on how the pawn structure evolves. In the end, managing pawn structures with pawn breaks is about patience, timing, and understanding your position. When done correctly, it can open lines, create weaknesses, and give your pieces more activity. Practice spotting these moments and planning your pawn breaks carefully to control the flow of the game and set up winning chances.